Hello, Mark and Teresa from Out of Office Camping. In this video, we're going to take the time to show you how we have two vehicles running off of one diesel heater and how that worked out. Let's go ahead and get started. Here we have a 5K diesel heater. We've been running this 2 nights now, and in both nights were about 27 and 28. The first night we did not have the wraps on the hoses, which made a big difference. We'll get into that here shortly, but just to show you what we did here, basically the diesel heater's always worked and been going up into the GFC, and I'll get up there and show you that just as well, how that works in case you have a rooftop tent or something. And one of the big things I like to do is try to keep with the extension here, the exhaust away from the vehicles. Now it's an extra pipe that basically we've just attached here. So when we travel with the diesel heater, this is basically in travel mode is like this. So it makes it easy. We can just take this whole unit and just put it right into a contractor trash bag for traveling to try to keep the fuel from spilling on anything or getting into the truck or the vehicle. Next, we like to use these traditional car heater pipes. Now a lot of folks use the flexible pipe. I am not a fan of this for 2 reasons. One, our pipe, for some reason, it just smells like plastic. And I don't know if everybody's just getting used to it, but everybody wants to tell you this is the pipe to use. Other so, but you know, some heaters they're not really rated for this, or this pipe's not really rated for certain heaters and stuff. So the other really just a more comical or common reason, I should say, but just look in the pipe. You know, see how you have all your ribs? I mean, let's just think about airflow. You don't really need to have any kind of engineering degree to just realize that, like, this traditional heater pipe is nice and smooth, which means your air is going to be traveling through the pipe and not having like resistance with all these waves or waffles or whatever you want to call them. And then the other thing is with this pipe, it is definitely more prone to get, you know, you can end up with more tighter bends. With this pipe, you don't quite get it won't really take that shape. So over here on this unit, we could probably do a little better here without having such a tight bend. And that would also help with our airflow going out. So as this goes up, and like I said, the first night we didn't have the blankets. This idea came from someone I remember seeing that had a heater review that they were doing, and they took like a Harbor Freight shipping blanket and they just wrapped it around. And I was like, you know, one of the lightweight ones, not a heavy shipping blanket. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. This right here is like a Y splitter, and I'll be sure to put all the product links below in the description so you can, purchase any of these items if you like. Now this is a Y, and what I've done is just basically marked it so we know, because it has flapper valves, so you can turn one off or vice versa, and they actually rotate in different directions, so it can be a little confusing. The other thing that I've picked up recently is this pipe right here is actually a longer pipe, and that's nice because that goes right up into the GFC, no problem. You know, of course we have the first piece here, but normally this one's wrapped. Let me go ahead and let me unwrap it so you can see the couplers in case you do need to add any additional pieces to yours. So now that I've unwrapped it with just the traditional fleece blanket, I have couplers here, which once again, those are a little tricky to find. This is the 75mm or 76mm hose, and I'll be sure to put these coupler links in there. You know, these are traditional sizes you can get, but once again, you can see this one here. That's a pretty long run, and it actually goes all the way back up in there, and we'll hop up in there and show you that one in a second. So what we've done here is basically we have the Y, everything's splitting, so we're basically feeding 2 heaters. Now we ran this from 8 to 8, started off low just to kind of get the vehicles up to some kind of temperature, and then pretty much had this heater up to, it was the first night it was actually 4 yellow bars, and that went through not quite as much fuel, but definitely a little bit more electric in a shorter period. So all in all, definitely had, we basically used more fuel in a shorter period, and we did use more electric. once we actually wrapped the hoses, that made a big difference. So it was be able to bump down to 2 yellow. And, you know, while that's still running pretty high, you know, these tanks are about a gallon and like 1.3 gallons. So I think it's safe to say that's a gallon of fuel, which, you know, okay, yeah, you're running 2 diesel heaters. No, you know, you're going to use half a gallon. Well, 1 diesel heater per vehicle, you can use half a gallon. That's pretty standard for the most part, give or take, depending on, of course, your climate and your area and all that. So we don't need to get into all that. But for the most part, we use about half a gallon. So if you think about it, we're basically feeding 2 vehicles and we're using a gallon of fuel, but we only need to carry 1 diesel heater, which is nice, and some pipes. So what we've done here with this vehicle setup in the Kia is basically just had some styrofoam blocks, and we've just cut them out so we could piece them in, and you could do this with just about anything you can think of, and slid them into the window. And then as we push up the window, then we, you know, put the last piece in here, so there's multiple pieces. But it's nice because this piece here can stay on and attached, and we can just basically unclamp this, and for travel mode we can just keep this piece connected, so when we get to wherever we're going, we can just connect the rest of the parts. And one thing I do like these connectors, or these clamps that have the, you know, little wing nuts or whatever you want to call them, but I'll put that in there also. Just another convenient way to basically not have to carry a tool with you in order to attach your hose clamps, compared to traditional hose clamps with a screwdriver, which is no big deal. So let's go ahead and show you what the inside looks like on this Kia. So now, since we readjusted some things, we actually had more hose to work with, so we brought the hose in here. And the cool thing with this one is, you know, we did keep the adjuster, the air vent adjuster, so that could get directed in whichever way. And with the hose in here, same thing. This could either get bent, or the air vent could be directed depending on if it was too hot or too cold. So very simple setup here, nothing too complicated. And then also, one of the things that Teresa did was she had her reflective, she does reflectives on all her windows, so she had a double layer of reflectors like right in here, so that also helps. The reflectives make a world of difference. Let's go ahead and show you the GFC next. So one thing I was talking about power consumption wise is the usage. We used about 250 watts in a 12-hour period. So that's not too bad, being that we were in 28-degree temps. So basically what I did here is this is like one of the small towels for hiking or backpacking or camping. Just more or less wrapped it around and then just put it through the zipper and down. So it's a very simple way to kind of get it tucked in, but also create a little bit of an air, keep the air, like get rid of the air gap for the most part. And with this, we just have it hanging up. I just have it attached with bungees, and I love these little flexible ties. They're really convenient. And same thing with this, I could basically just take the vent and either have it directly, you know, flowing on or away. So that's the setup here in the GFC. So in closing, we just want to take the time to thank you for checking out our YouTube channel here and our video. We hope you found this content or some of the components that we're using on our heater setup. We try to avoid duplicating what others typically do out there, content creators. So we try to have more unusual and unique content. And we hope you enjoyed this and may consider giving us a thumbs up, a comment, or also subscribing to our channel. We tend to focus on a lot of adventure travels, off-grid, overlanding, and just love just getting out and camping. So if you enjoy that, subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much.